Once upon a time, in a certain village, there lived a little girl. She was modest and kind, docile and hard-working. Her mother was very happy that she had such a helper. The daughter helped with housework, and she especially liked to bake cakes with her mother. The girl had a grandmother who loved her more than anything else in the world. Her grandmother gave the girl a Red Riding Hood for her birthday. After that, the girl wore her new smart riding hood all the time, so the neighbors called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day her mother made a cake and told her daughter, "Go to your grandmother, Little Red Riding Hood. Take her this cake and a little pot of butter and see if she feels well." Mother came out on the doorstep to see her daughter off and told her as she was leaving, "Don't talk to strangers and don't leave the path in the woods." Little Red Riding Hood bid her mother goodbye and went through the woods to the house where her grandmother lived. Little Red Riding Hood was going along the road when she decided to pick forest flowers for her grandmother. She left the path, entered into the wild woods, and started picking flowers. Little Red Riding Hood was going along the road when she decided to pick forest flowers for her grandmother. She left the path, entered into the wild woods, and started picking flowers. While Little Red Riding Hood was picking flowers, she didn't notice that she was going deeper and deeper into the woods. A wolf that lived in a hut deep in the woods had just woken up because he heard a noise. The wolf then decided to check who was walking around his house. The wolf ran out of the house and hurried towards Little Red Riding Hood. He greeted her and asked where she was heading. Little Red Riding Hood told the wolf that she was going to visit her grandmother, to give her a cake and a little pot of butter. The wolf was very hungry, so he decided to eat the girl and her grandmother. He learned from Little Red Riding Hood where her grandmother lived and took the shortest path to get to her house, running as fast as he could. The wolf came to the grandmother's house and knocked at the door. "Who's there?" asked the grandmother. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you a cake and a little pot of butter," replied the wolf in a thin voice. The grandmother was ill then and was in bed. She thought it was indeed Little Red Riding Hood and cried out, "Pull the bobbin and the door will open." The wolf pulled the bobbin and the door opened. The wolf fell upon the grandmother and gobbled her up in a moment. Then he put on her dress, her cap, and got into her bed. Little Red Riding Hood came to the grandmother's house and knocked at the door. The wolf cleared his throat and said in a frail, sick voice, "Pull the bobbin and the door will open." The girl entered the house, sat by the wolf, and wondered, "Grandmother, what big ears you have!" "All the better to hear you with," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have!" said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to see you with." "Grandmother, what big hands you have!" said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to hug you with," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what big teeth you have!" exclaimed Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," said the wolf. He then jumped out of the bed and ate poor Little Red Riding Hood up. After the wolf ate to his fill, he climbed back into bed and fell asleep, and began to snore very loudly. At that very moment, a kind huntsman was passing by. He heard strange noises from the house and decided to check out what was going on. The man sneaked to the window to save the grandmother, looked inside, and in the bed there laid a wolf. The old huntsman understood everything and decided to save the grandmother. The huntsman took a pair of scissors and cut open the belly of the sleeping wolf. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother got out of it, both safe and sound. Little Red Riding Hood saw the wolf with his belly cut open, and she felt sorry for him. Together with the kind huntsman, they took the wolf to the forest hospital. There the wolf's belly was sewn back together, and he started to get better. When the wolf got well, he returned home. He never hurt anyone since then. Animals were not afraid of him, and kids visited the wolf to play and have fun there.